Okay, before we start, I'm just going to turn this into a mini games I bought recently, games I bought just played recently, and I finally got around to playing Enter the Matrix on the PlayStation 2 because it turns out that my copy wasn't broken. I think it was just the PS2 I was using was broken, and this game is fine, I guess. And maybe I just haven't played enough of it. But the checkpoint system is kind of stupid. But now, on with the video.
Out here even playing the game. Change the password.
Nice.
What? What? Shadow, speak louder. That I have in the back of my phone, or a phone right now. I have in the back of my phone. Kind of bad.
What's going on? My name is Crash, and welcome to my little reviewing of stupid Nintendo games. Now, if you've seen Scott the Waz's video, Borderline Forever, you'll know that for the first 25 minutes, he reviewed a bunch of Nintendo games. And so I'm going to review those Nintendo games for myself. Starting off with Super Mario Bros. 2 is right here. This game is fine. It's probably my favorite 2D Mario of the original trilogy, which feels weird calling Super Mario Brothers a trilogy now. But yeah, it's fine. After that, we have River City Ransom, which is apparently like an 8-bit rendition of Grand Theft Auto, at least before Retro City Rampage came out. And then Donkey Kong Jr. Math, which is Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Back to the Future on NES, it has practically nothing to do with the movie, so I don't know why it's called Back to the Future. I know why it's called Back to the Future. Scamming and easy cash grab. You know what's a better Back to the Future game? Back to the Future the Game by Telltale Games. Okay, after that, Where's Waldo? I have a cartridge of this back here. It's terrible. Kung Fu Heroes. I've seen a little bit of that game. It looks decent. Looks kind of like Zelda. Personally, I don't care for it. After that, Pinball. It's Pinball, but the box art is stupid because the box art is not Pinball. Oh yes, NWC 1990 and NCC 1991. Those were neat little things, weren't they? Those are neat little competitions. I hope Nintendo re-releases them one day. Okay, the controllers. The controllers, B and A aren't perfectly lined up with your thumb, and the dog bone made it even worse. Oh yeah, Tetris Attack. They made a re-rendition of Panel de Pon, inserting Yoshi's and naming it after Tetris. I'd say it's one of the best Tetris games of all time. After that, Family Feud, one of the best Super Nintendo games on the system, one of the best Super Nintendo games of all time, in my opinion, because it's a fun little game show, and it's one of my favorite game shows, and it's a pretty good rendition of the TV show on this here Super Nintendo cartridge. Doom. I haven't seen really much of any other rendition of Doom outside of like the PC version and like the Super Nintendo version and like maybe the Sega Saturn version. So I guess it's fine. I don't know. Wolfenstein 3D, that game leaves a bit hard into censorship more than people like so much. Super Punch Out, that game isn't as talked about as the one on the NES, but that one was actually in Fight Night Round 2 for the GameCube, so that's pretty neat. After that, we have Donkey Kong Country 3, the game that is apparently super rare and not a whole lot of people own. Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. Donkey Kong Country 1, I've heard of this one part that has like different colored ropes do different colored things. Nintendo, you should have made it more accessible to colorblind people. Mario Party 1. That game is that game is just super unfair. Super Smash Bros. N64. It's Super Smash Bros. So the original N64. Just play the newer ones, unless you really want to see where the series all began. Mario Kart 64. That game is on the shelf at the moment. I mean, it's fine, but honestly, I'd just rather play the newer Mario Kart games. The new Tetris. It's Tetris. I don't know why they needed to call it the new Tetris. Glover. It's Glover, but maybe if I ever get the game, maybe if I ever get the game, I should dedicate the closet to it. Yoshi's Story. That's a neat little game. It's maybe the that's a neat game. You have to collect 30 fruit. Do what my dietitian said. Maybe the next game should do something as unique or the same thing or as good. Next up, Super Mario 64. I actually do have the cartridge for that in the room with me. This game is This game is uh, the definition of the best Super Nintendo 64 game. No questions, no doubts about it. After that Tetris, we have the new Tetris now. We don't need no stinking old Tetris. Oh, we don't need Tetris. Why wouldn't we need Tetris when we have the new Tetris now? Alleyway. It's Arkanoid with Mario for some reason. Well, now you have to play it. Donkey Kong Land. It's a Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy, but it's Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy. Why would you buy that? Pokemon Gen 1. I don't care. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. They're making a remake of that game, and it's pretty good, but what's also definitely better, from what I've heard, Donkey Kong 93, which is the original arcade game with like way more levels added in, so that's pretty cool. Super Game Boy. Donkey Kong 93 had like a special like border around that game, so that's pretty neat. And you basically could play any Game Boy game you want. And Super Game Boy 2 allows you to play Game Boy games, and also features a link cable to play game to like use Game Boy games with the link cable, but you can't use Game Boy Color games, even though it has a Game Boy Color in the box. That's dumb. So Game Boy Player, you can play Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games, but that one doesn't have as much personality. Also, Geist. A It's a first-person shooter game where you shoot ghosts. Could you imagine a RPG about bees? Luigi's Mansion. Where is that on the shelf? Luigi's Mansion. You can beat it in 3 hours, but it's the perfect launch title for the system. Get back on the shelf. Okay, after that we have DDR Mario Mix. Surprisingly, the only DDR game that ever came to Nintendo GameCube, even though the Game Boy Color also got DDR, even though it would do like probably a lot better on the GameCube versus the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. So I don't know why they decided to do that. Oh yeah, the GameCube microphone only works with like Mario Party games and Odama, but you probably also get evicted doing it. Same thing with the GameCube bongos, which only works for the first three Donkey Konga games, as well as Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. One about the controller, yeah, D-pad too small, C-sticks too small, only one Z and bad. Action Replay, yes, where you can use your where you can make cheats for your games, and also you can play like import games such as DreamX TV World Fighters with characters like Bomberman and Optimus Prime and Simon Belmont. Oh yes, The Legend of the Quiz Tournament of Champions. It's a quiz game where you can play as Jeff Foxworthy for some reason. Sin and Punishment Star Successor, the sequel to a Nintendo 64 game that was only in Europe. Get GoldenEye 007 Wii. It's basically Call of Duty, but that's fine because if there was a modern rendition of GoldenEye 007, it would probably be Call of Duty. Super Mario Galaxy, probably one of the best 3D games ever made, but I personally think it might be a slight overrated, but it's honestly a pretty good game. Big Brain Academy Wii Degree. I haven't played it, but it looks pretty fun, and I have played Brain vs. Brains, so that's pretty. Smarty Pants. It was originally a Donkey Kong Country. I think it was originally like a Donkey Kong Country or like a Donkey Kong spin-off game. Family Feud Decades. It's a Family Feud game for the Wii. Madden NFL 08. I haven't played it, which is probably a sin. Madden NFL 09. I haven't played it, which is probably a good thing. Nintendo DS browser is the Nintendo DS browser. You can access the internet. Chibi Robo Ziplash. Stop. Super Bomberman R. Why is the side of the case like that? Bravely Default 2. Why? Daemon X Machina. Not only is the name of that game like very hard to pronounce, like very hard to even say, but like it's Daemon X Machina. Like it's very mediocre. Paper Mario: The Origami King. I don't want to play that game. I'd rather just wait for Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door remake to come out. Sega Master System. Charmingly pathetic. Oh yes, Devil's Third. It's Devil's Third. Why even publish that game? Wii U microphone exists. When there's a microphone on the gamepad. Wii Sports Club. Why remake it? Super Mario 3D World has a big stupid border, so that's just annoying. Fling Smash. Why is it always wet? Donkey Kong Barrel Blast repels virginity. Oh yes, Gubble. It's not Wednesday, so why am I talking about Gubble? Wii Play Motion. It's Wii Play Motion. It's not as good as the original Wii Play. Pack and Roll, mediocre Pac-Man game about rolling. Lost in Blue Shipwrecked is. I never played it. Don't even care about what it's about. Tetris 2. This isn't Tetris. National Man Sales World Championship Racing, the game that's $2 in the box apparently. You'd be an idiot not to purchase that. Clubhouse Games Super Mobile Classics. I haven't gotten around to it. And also, We Play is We Play. Don't try reselling it, or Nintendo will get on your ass.